Time now for sports on 104.7 The Cave. Here's Ned Reynolds.
Mike, the intern, Ned Reynolds, unlocking the secrets of the universe on a Thursday morning. So far this season, the Kansas City Chiefs have retained Andy Heck. Corey Mathey, who's the assistant to him. Quarterback's coach still there. Dan Williams, assistant quarterback's coach. I didn't think they were going to go. Tom Melvin, they weren't going anywhere. So far, Matt Nagy, he gone. Saxton gone. Todd Pinkston, Mark DeLeon, and Connor Embry all gone. And now it's official. EB's coming back, and Chad O'Shea is also coming back. But they still got 3 vacancies. His assistant, running back coach, and assistant running back coach.
Well, don't you have to think, though, that the offensive coordinator, who is a great runner in his time, the enemy, and I know some of you are saying, well, that's already old news. No, it wasn't. The contract wasn't signed till yesterday, folks, and you never put anything out until the contract is signed. So, yeah, he's officially back. But he was a runner. Great runner at Colorado and a little bit in the NFL. Don't you suppose he would handle the running backs?
Well, the thought is that Deuce Staley might be the one to come in and be the coach because of his connection with him in Philly. And supposedly he was probably the most successful running back under Reed so far. The one who's run for the most. So it'd be interesting to see. I'm just, like I said, man, I want and have wanted discipline back in that room for a while, and I think he brings that.
There's no question about the fact that he is hard on those players. And the Washington, and I think they were the Redskins at the time, but I'm not sure when he was with them. They were the Redskins or Commanders, one or the other. The players revolted, or at least some of the running backs did, and went to Ron Rivera and said, hey, this guy's too tough on us. And Rivera, thank goodness, said, grow up, guys. This is part of the game. But he being the enemy, also had problems with other teams. The fact that he worked them out too hard and so forth and so on. Chicago Bears said essentially the same thing, but heck, they're a pretty good football team.
Almost went to their championship game.
Exactly, and they should be there, but be that as it may. Bieniemy, I think, is a good coach, and he is hardcore in terms of discipline, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is what you need in athletics. Yes, you can have a coach who is perhaps the good cop, bad cop, but you do have to have that definitive division between the two of them, because that's how athletics work, and athletes do respond pretty well to it.
And if you watch that Rams-Bears game, you probably noticed that there were a lot of players making plays you'd never heard before.
Oh, yeah.
And you know why that is? Is because EB put them to work since day one. And it's crazy to me. As soon as he went to the Commandos, and they were like, he's too tough. I'm like, aren't you getting paid millions of dollars to catch a ball? Like, I can't understand why these guys get coddled, but no more coddling. And like I keep saying, I hope the first day he has practice with those guys, he sits them down and he goes through the 2 hours of footage from last season of all the stupid mistakes and penalties they got, and he just bad cops them to death. That's what they need.
You have to understand, folks, that in athletics it's a whole lot different from, especially in the professional ranks, a whole lot different from dealing with high school kids and so forth, where you do have to have some kind of an understanding of how the kid reacts. These people are being paid big money to produce. And if that's what it takes, hey, I'm all for it.
Hell yeah. Golf's back on the mainland. Where's the tournament this weekend?
La Quinta, which is in the very southwestern part of California. It's out in the desert in the Palm Springs area. And the event's the American Express Open. Now, the purse here is just under $10 million, which is not very much. That's one of the lower tournaments on the tour. But some of the big names will be there because they're getting their game in shape. Ben Griffin, who has really come on and played very well. Ludwig Gobert, and making his debut, the number one golfer in the world, Scottie Scheffler. He will be playing in this one this weekend, and this figures to be a pretty good field. Anyway, they play at PGA West, which is in La Quinta, and that's in the Southern California desert, but considering what's been going on these days, it may be cool. It certainly won't be cold, but cool and maybe a little damp, but we'll see what happens.
While we're buried in snow, that might not be too bad to watch, and a dream about being out there on that nice warm golf course. Speaking of warm, Australia, they had some competition last night.
They did indeed. The guy who I root for, because he's an old guy, Novak Djokovic, the 10-time champion, did come away with a victory. Of course, he's playing a kid who qualified, but you know what? The tennis game is so good. These guys come in, and there's probably 700 or 800 who are world-class tennis players, and you never heard of them before. This kid's from Italy, and a big kid. Boy, he could hit. He just hit the rocket, the tennis ball like a rocket. It was coming in 140, 150 miles. Not his serves. These are his ground shots. And Djokovic had the skill, of course, to take him out and beat him in straight sets. But most of the others, Jessica Pegula gets a victory. So does Aryna Sabalenka. They're all in the winner's circle. Miss Pegula is an interesting story. Do you know about her? She's a billionairess.
Oh yeah, she's gonna own a football team one day.
She will. She'll own the Buffalo Bills and she'll own the Buffalo Sabres as well.
I wonder what she thinks about them firing that coach. Missouri State Bears and Lady Bears both gonna have some battles tonight, aren't they?
They are indeed. The Bears will be on the road out at Las Cruces, New Mexico, to take on New Mexico State for a second time this year. And Missouri State will play in the Pan American Center, which when it was new, Mike, was a palace out in Las Cruces. There's not very much in Las Cruces or southeastern New Mexico, but hey, the Pan American Center was big. Now, it was many, many years ago. It's still very nice. It's about the same as the Great Southern Bank Arena, maybe a little bit more. But a very nice arena, but an old one. And that is where the Bears in New Mexico State will play. The Lady Bears are playing home here in town tonight. Now, this is a game that, to me, being older and being a historian in the world of athletics, has a lot of credibility to it. The Lady Bears are playing Louisiana Tech, the Lady Techsters. Mike, I think you're probably a little bit too young to remember, but the NCAA did not used to have women's sports. They adopted them in, I think it was 1981 or 82, somewhere around there. They finally got all the sports, the women's sports, under the NCAA guidelines. Prior to that, it was the AIAW, and Missouri State, or Southwest Missouri State, was a member of that group. Well, when the NCAA took in Louisiana Tech, they took in a team that governed basketball and women's sports. They were two-time national champions. They had the young lady who is now coaching at LSU, Kim Mulkey. She was their star player. And they just ran everybody out of the ballpark. They're a really good program, a solid program. They are history because they were the forerunner of women's basketball in the NCAA. Now, Connecticut has taken over and won 12 national championships, but in the early days, it was Louisiana Tech, and they're good this year. They are coming in with an 11-5 record, and they'll play the Lady Bears tonight. That's a 6:30 game at the Great Southern Bank Arena.
Go Bears and Lady Bears. So this Sunday, both AFC and NFC championship games. Who do you like and where are they playing?
Well, they play in Denver and play in Seattle. Well, you would think, boy, out in Denver, it's going to be brutal. Well, it probably will be on the cold side in the neighborhood of the high 20s, maybe the low 30s, but I don't think it's going to be any precipitation. That's all here, unfortunately for us. And the Broncos and the Patriots, I think, will play a pretty good game. We'll give a prediction on that tomorrow. Seattle and the Los Angeles Rams playing in Seattle. It will be probably in the mid-40s out there, but there's, in Seattle, always the chance of some rain because that's one of the wettest parts of the world there in that city, and that will probably have an effect as well. So we'll see what happens there. The two games, the winners, of course, go to the Super Bowl on February 8th.
Good luck to your team if they're in the hunt. Last but not least, a pair of undefeated college basketball teams got to play again. Are they still undefeated?
They still are undefeated. The number one team in America for the men, the University of Arizona Wildcats out of Tucson, played Cincinnati last night and beat Cincinnati rather handily, 77-51. The other team, which is the major surprise of all of college basketball, Nebraska. Nebraska is a football school. What's this? Their basketball team is undefeated? They sure are. They play in the Big Ten, of course, and Nebraska beat Washington by a score of 76-66. Nebraska is now 19-0. Isn't this, to me, really interesting how the whole pendulum has swung? Here's Nebraska, a football school, and they're excelling in basketball, and they've had really poor football years. And here's Indiana, which is a basketball school, and now they're the football national champions. What on earth is going on?
It's nice to see it change up every now and then. That's what's going on. Ned, you have a wonderful Thursday, and I'll see you down the road.